I want to welcome everyone to Tech Talks. It's so good to see all of our EMSE program managers that have joined us today. Back by popular demand, we have Braden, who will be teaching us how to use an email marketing service for sending communications to your EMS agencies. This is especially timely for PPRP. And if you're new to Tech Talks, please say hello in the chat and tell us what state you're representing. We want to thank Andrea for monitoring that for us today. Our monthly challenge is to consider if using an email marketing service would help you during data collection. Examples of these services include, but are not limited to, Constant Contact and MailChimp. And with that, we'll have Braden take it away.
As you know, this Tech Talk is about email marketing services. The goal of this is pretty much to just be informative and not necessarily convince you to use an email marketing service. We have started using one. It's been good for us. Given your individual circumstance, it might make sense. It may not make sense. But either way, you'll be able to hopefully make an informed decision and have something to think about after this. Oh, come on. I want to change slides. Sorry.
Braden, there you go. Thanks.
Okay, so an email marketing service is a platform that allows you to create, send, and manage email campaigns. For the most part, they're really marketing services. They'll do texts and a bunch of other stuff. We use them for emails, so that's what we'll be talking about. There are a handful of different ones, like Jane mentioned. There's Constant Contact, ActiveCampaign, MailChimp, Brevo. We use Constant Contact, but there may be others, and if you want to look into them, I would suggest going to all the various websites and determining essentially which option is going to be best for you. As I mentioned, primarily today, we're actually going to be doing a demonstration of how to set up an email campaign in Constant Contact and how to get it sent. If you choose a different service, you'll basically need to learn how that works, but it likely won't be radically different. I imagine they're going to be fairly similar as they do similar things. So why use one? The first thought is ease of use. Essentially, it keeps your info in one place. It makes mail merging, which we'll talk about a little bit, easy. It makes creating and saving email templates easy. Next is it does allow for some kind of automation. So you can set emails to go out at specific future date and time. You can send a specific email to just a segment of your list, for example, just one or more regions. And it can kind of automate that process for you. You can, the biggest thing for us, or one of the biggest things apart from ease of use, might have been the analytics and reporting. Basically, you can get additional details that you just don't get by sending it through a traditional mail merge. For example, you can get details on who opens an email and when they did, who clicked on a link and when they did, and what link they clicked on, who all bounced back, and why they may have bounced back, why the email was undeliverable, etc. You essentially don't get any of that with a traditional email client, other than you get an email that you get a notice that the email is undeliverable. And that's essentially it, but you don't get anything. You don't know if they opened it. You don't know if they clicked on anything, etc. And then lastly, it does provide some benefits for compliance and deliverability. Basically, they make sure that you're being compliant with the various laws, and then they also can watch your sender reputation, which can help with deliverability and things like that. A couple thoughts as to why some basically potential drawbacks. So first off, there is an unsubscribe option that they provide the receiver of the email, and that cannot be removed. And that's a liability thing on their end. We have not found in our experience that very many agencies unsubscribe. So it hasn't been a big issue for us, and you can reach out to those folks and like call them or something, reach out to them via another method and ask them to resubscribe and get that done in those few cases where it does happen. Second, it is possible for an email to be blocked because while it appears to the recipient that the email is coming from you, it's actually being sent from the service. But that being said, during the field test, we really only had one email that bounced back be marked as blocked specifically. So it doesn't appear to be a huge issue. They've I mean, it's their business, so they've really done some stuff to try and make sure that emails can go through and will end up in somebody's inbox. And then last, it's not free. There is a cost associated with getting an account with one of these services. It is typically based on how many contacts you have. You know, the more contacts you're sending emails to, the more they're going to charge you. But that'd be for you to determine. For us, we've decided it's pretty reasonable. They're usually not terribly crazy, and you usually can sign up when you need them and like suspend the account or something when you don't. Okay, so with all that said, just kind of as a quick initial thought, we do want to spend most of our time today in Constant Contact, so we're going to go ahead and jump over there. Okay, so I have already logged in, so it's just constantcontact.com, and then you'll log in there, and then this is the page that you land on when you log in. You can see this is my real account. It's the account that I'm really using to send stuff out. You can see how many contacts we currently have. This is all field test stuff. You know, our open rates. The contact growth is a little bit, given the way we use it, that's not an accurate thing, basically, because we have fewer contacts in here because some people have taken the survey. So we're not, and more than 55 have taken it. It's so don't worry about that one. Social audience growth is another thing that we don't really use, but as far as the lay of the land here goes, the stuff is all going to be along the top here, pretty much. The home will just always bring you back to this main page. The marketing dropdown is essentially where you're going to go to create an email. So Constant Contact calls an email, a specific email to a specific group of people, a campaign. So that's going to be all these campaigns. And as I mentioned, you can do a lot of different things. We pretty much just use the email, so that's what we'll focus on. But this is where you'll go to create, review, edit, send an email to somebody. Contacts, this is obviously where you'll go to upload contacts, add, edit, create, delete, otherwise work on the contact list. One thing that I do want to point out as far as contacts go is to keep in mind that the data that is in the contact list management system in CLEMS is what populates the survey website, Tableau, all of the other stuff for our data collection processes. So if you're using an email marketing service for an official EMSC data collection, like the upcoming PPRP, the list you upload to Constant Contact or whatever service you're using should come straight from CLEMS. That way it will match the survey website and all that other stuff. If you have questions about that, your TA can help you download your CLEMS list via Tableau so that it can be uploaded here. The reporting tab is where you'll go to get analytics, but also you can see some analytics on a completed campaign just from this marketing tab, and I'll show you that. And then tools I haven't really used much, so we're not gonna go through that really. And then the last thing that I want to show you is some account settings. And that's if I click on this drop-down menu with my name up here, and then I go into account settings. It is going to load. And in here, you'll see it allows us to basically put in a logo, that kind of thing if we want. We have not really used that because we have all that stuff in our email templates. Normally it's a little faster than this, but it's not the fastest website on the planet, I'll tell you that much. It's not usually quite that slow, but so here's like a brand kit. We don't really use that. The big thing that I want to point out here is the business detail section here. So this is what is going to show up at the very, very bottom of your email, like where the little unsubscribe link and all that kind of stuff is. So you want to have this stuff be accurate. I'll show you on an email later where that shows up, but that's where you can edit that. And then, obviously just account stuff, change your password, things like that. The account emails, if I click here, this shows me all of the emails that I can use to send an email from Constant Contact. So in other words, Constant Contact actually sends the email, but they make it appear as if it is coming from an approved email in your list. So it basically is those of us that have, like admin access to our account. Essentially, that's Kim, our admin, Andrea, and myself. And then we have a couple of the emails that we actually use. So for the upcoming PPRP, for those that are EDC led, we will be sending them from this EMSPs ready at hsc.utah.edu. You can see they've been verified. You can add as many as you want, but you basically just have to have access to that email account so that they'll send an email and you just verify it to know that it's essentially an approved account. This authenticated tab is something that is really important that I want to mention, and more details about that can be found in advanced settings. So it says self-authenticate your email address. What that basically is you can authenticate your email domain, and the domain is going to be the stuff after the @ sign in an email address. And authenticating it is an important step to decreasing the chance of your email being marked as spam. And actually, just this month, there are some major email providers that I believe was including Gmail and Yahoo that require an email to be authenticated, or else they may not allow it to go through. Essentially how they're trying to stop bots from sending emails. So it's how they know that you're an actual person, you're not sending bots. In order to do that process, you can click on these links here and they will kind of give you instructions, but then you will need to work with your IT team, the people that are over your email. We worked through our University of Utah email IT team, and they essentially understood what that all meant when we talked to them about it. It was something that, since they work in email, they understood, and they helped us get it authenticated. If you click on this manage here, you can see it's all tech stuff that I don't understand, but basically you put in some information that they'll give you, and it basically lets email servers know that you're a real person. You're not just a bot that's blasting out thousands of emails to random people. So that's an important step. If you are going to use a service, work with your IT and get your email domain authenticated. And the nice thing is, once the domain is authenticated, as you can see here, any email with that same domain is going to be also authenticated. So you're good to go, because our domain name of hsc.utah.edu is authenticated. Any email that we upload with that same domain is going to also be authenticated. Okay. So first, we're going to jump into contacts. Well, next, I guess, we're going to jump into contacts. And I'm basically going to show you how to add a contacts from an Excel spreadsheet. And there will be some contacts here at the bottom that pop up, but these are all fake ones, actually. So it's okay for the recording. What you'll do basically is they give you some numbers. Again, these numbers I don't pay much attention to. They essentially give you your big list here, and you can scroll down and see them and click on one of them to make individual edits. But to add new contacts, you basically just come up here to add contacts, and then you can add them one at a time through that way. I pretty much always just upload them from a file, which is what we're going to do here. And basically, it just allows you to browse your computer, find the file that you've saved. You can see my messy desktop here. And this one is called fake agency data. So I'm going to upload that contact list, and it's going to pop me into this next page, which makes me select a column header. So these are the column headers in my spreadsheet, and I have to match them up with something in Constant Contact. And the reason for this is so that I can do mail merge fields, so that I can merge in somebody's name and have the email personalized. But it doesn't recognize the name EMS agency field, EMS agency name. So what I have to do is I've come in, and previously I have created a custom field, and you can do that in those settings. And I basically select, okay, EMS agency name matches to agency name. County, it automatically found. Contact name I have to find. In this case, it's just going to be, I'm actually just going to use their automatic first name for the contact name. I just have to remember that now the contact name is called first name. This is a contact phone, so I'll go ahead and say it's a work phone. Email address it found, that's the contact email. And then this is the manager's information. So for this list, I'm pretending that I am the state partnership manager for the state of Utopia. So I've added in a field called manager name, and basically you just have to make sure that these match. So here we have manager email, manager credentials. The company, it found organization and automatically called it company. I'm going to change that because I want it to be called manager organization, so I can keep in mind what that is, and then the manager phone number. And so once none of them are read, you want to review them and say, okay, we're good. We've got all the fields correct. You can go ahead and click continue. And then you do have to select that you have permission to email those contacts. And then it also wants you to put them in a list. In this case, I'm actually just going to create a new list. And I'm just going to call it Tech Talk. And I'll hit create, and it will select it. And then I can upload. So it'll upload those couple of contacts into my list called Tech Talk. And I'll show you in a minute why that's important when we're ready to send. It does take a couple of minutes to upload a list. This one will be pretty quick, I expect, because there's only like 5 contacts in there. But when we're uploading 5,000 emails, it can take a couple of minutes. That basically says, okay, this is good to go. It's been uploaded. And now I can see if I want to, I can come here to lists under the contacts, and I can say, okay, my Tech Talk list now has 6 contacts in it. If I wanted to review each of those contacts, I could do so. It's just the EDC staff is who I put in there. Shows that they are subscribed when they were added. So now we can basically send these people an email. Next, we're going to hop over into marketing campaigns. I'm just going to go to all campaigns, and I'm basically going to walk through the process of how to build an email campaign, and then we will send it to the people in that contact list we just created. So in marketing campaigns, it's going to show us basically a list of all the various campaigns we've done. These are the real campaigns with the real emails that we have sent for the field test. So for example, we see here the field test subject line 1, and that's, we were testing 2 different subject lines to see which one might work better. And we can go in there and I can see the email that was sent. Here it gives us a summary of the stats for that campaign. So we had 248 sends, 97 opens, 3 clicks, 10 bounces, and then 2 unsubscribes. For the other half of the list, there were 247 sends, we had 98 opens, 12 clicks, 14 bounces, and 0 unsubscribes. So that's basically, a simple way you can come in after one is sent and you can just see a regularly updated list of, okay, how many people have opened it now? How many people have clicked on a link now? What I'm going to do, though, is just show you how to create one. So to create a brand new campaign, you're going to come in here and you'll just click create. I'm going to do an email. And then again, this is going to be slightly different depending on what service you have, but it for the most part will be pretty similar. And it will allow you to basically select, like, do you want to use a pre-made template that they have, or do you just want to start from scratch? I always start from scratch because we have templates created. That's the start from scratch option. We have templates created for this, the survey emails or the assessment emails that go out. And so I want to basically build that myself, make sure it looks how I want it to look without them trying to force me into some kind of a template. So when you start it, it just gives you basically a box. And over here on the left are all these WYSIWYGs, is what they're called. Like, what you see is what you get. So basically, if you want text, you're going to drag a text box over here. I might not have clicked it right. It'll drop it in, and then you can change the text. When you click in the text box, it will give you, the different fonts, size, text color, things like links. If I wanted to put a link in, you highlight what you want, click on the link button, and then you decide what you want to link.
Hey, Braden, sorry to interrupt. We're at 12:20 right now.
Okay, thanks, Jane. So that's how you'll do like a link in the email. To insert a merge field, so I'm going to delete this out, and I'm just going to say dear, and I want it to go to the name. I can come up here to insert a contact detail, and it will bring up that whole list of things that we had like tagged, you know what I mean? And I remember that it was actually first name, so I can say first name. It does give you a fallback. So if, as it's going through the list, somebody in your list is missing a name in the contact name list, there's nothing, you can put in something that it will put in case there is nothing there. So if there is no name, that name is just blank, it will automatically put in EMS supervisor. So then I say insert, and we can see, okay, that's that. And then you can type in the email. If I want to add an image, I can put in an image tab, click on it, and then you'll just actually click replace. It's a little bit confusing, but you'll click replace there, and it will bring up a place where you can either select previously uploaded images. You can always upload an image, and then that will basically allow you to upload whatever images you want. When an image is put in, it'll go in there. You can change the size of the image and things like that, so that it looks right. But what I'm actually going to do now is not build an entire email. What I'm actually going to do is go back into one that I've already built that is in fact a copy of the very email that went out to field test agencies and will be going out to everybody in May. This one I think is the final reminder actually, but it's it's one of the real emails that will go out. So we've come in here, we've built it. Each one of these things with the brackets and the box around it, that's a merge field, that I did by insert contact details. So we're merging in the first name or the name of the person, which actually is their whole name. It's just called first name in here. The state, the county that agency is in, the state again, the agency name, and then a list of manager credentials, basically their name or manager signature information, so their name, credentials, etc. And then we have a link here with a button. That's this button here. You can go in and add a link to that so that when they click on it, it goes to the website. If you want to change the subject line and all that, that is actually, you just click on this top bar up here, and it'll bring up a dialog box where you can change the subject line. You can change a pre-header. A pre-header is essentially like it's a secondary header in some email when you receive an email that will say, vital input needed now, and then it could say, from the state EMSC program. And then the from name is important. So this is what they will see when they see who it's from. I actually pulled up an email here just to show that. So this is storytelling with data. It's just I get their emails every once in a while. They have some really cool ideas for how to share data. But this here, storytelling with data, is what they have set up for their email, like their name, the sender name. So when I get an email from them, it pops up as, okay, this is from Storytelling with Data. And that's the actual email address that it comes from. So that's what this is, this from name. So you need to put something in from there. And then it allows you to select which of those emails that we saw before you want it to come from. And then in this case, we're going to do EMS PEDS ready. And then the reply to address, it's kind of cool where if somebody goes in and they click reply to the email, you can actually have it sent to a different email address than it came from. And that's this. So in this case, if people click reply, we want it to go to EMS PEDS ready support at HSC. But again, you just select the email that you want. So that's good to go. One cool thing about Constant Contact is you can actually add like a name, the person's name or something in the subject line. And that's, you click this personalize and you can put in one of those merge fields. That's something that you can do in Constant Contact, and probably the others as well, that you cannot do in like a regular Outlook mail merge, is customize that subject line. Okay, so I've reviewed this. Everything is good to go. I'm going to go ahead and click continue. And this is essentially the sending information. It allows me to review. It'll give me a small thumbnail of the email here. When it loads, it allows me to review the subject line, review the from name, make sure everything looks good. At the very, very bottom, the footer of the email, it's going to put in that information that was back in the account settings. You can edit it here for an individual email if you want, but this is what you put here in the account settings is going to be kind of the default. And this is also where you will select whether you want to send it now or schedule it for later. In this case, for schedule for later, you just select that, you pick what date you want it to go out and what time you want it to go out, and it's going to be local. So for me, it's Mountain Standard Time. And that can be a little tricky. If I'm sending an email to the East Coast, I want it to land at 8 a.m. I have to remember, okay, 8 a.m. Eastern Time is 6 a.m. Mountain Time. So I'll set it up to go, okay, 6 a.m. Mountain Time, it'll go out. That means it will land in their inbox in North Carolina for the field test at 8 a.m. Right now, we're just going to do the send now. And this gives me the list of email or of the contact lists that I had previously set up. So it's really easy. All I have to do is just select, okay, I want it to go to everybody in the Tech Talk list. Segments is how you could say, I'm going to send it to everybody in just these regions, but without having to put in a separate list. We don't have time to go over that. It's kind of a cool feature, but if you haven't had questions about that in the future, I can talk about that with you. But right now, we're just going to send it to that Tech Talk list we uploaded. We're going to send it right now. Additional options, these take a look at them, but I typically don't have it send me early results because I end up just logging back in to Constant Contact and I can see the early results. But you can select who you want those to go to if you do want early results. And then I will click send now, and it'll start processing it right away. So the folks in NEATARC will see this email come to us as a campaign, and that's basically how a campaign is sent. And then it will just drop me right back into that campaigns list. Once it loads. And that will go from, oh no, it gives me a little summary first. So I can basically see, okay, that's the subject, that's the from name, etc. Right now, I'm going to go back to the campaigns, and we're running out of time. So the last thing I want to show you is basically the analytics. You can go here to reporting. We're not going to do it right now. If you go to reporting, it basically gives you an automatic summary of like all of your campaigns since whatever date, and you can pick what dates you want. And I can say, okay, since the survey started, what is my summary of all of them? It can be useful. We are a lot more comfortable, and I expect many of you would be too. I just want the raw data, and then I can figure out in Excel what, when they all sent and kind of pull it in from there. Their summaries are fine, and they give you just nice high-level summaries that this is your total, opens. But I want to know, like, for example, I want to know the opens from subject line 1 so that I can compare them to the opens from subject line 2, for example. And so in order to get that granular specific data, I have found it's easiest just to click on these links here. And I can actually do it. I don't want to show anybody's actual data, so I'll shrink my screen a little bit. But if I just click on like 97, that was 41% opens, it will come over into that page. And it'll say, okay, final reminder, subject line 1, we had a 40.8% open rate. The average open rate is all of my last 10 campaigns. So that's where it's like, I mean, that's great, but I want to know this one specifically. It will give you a list of all the emails and first names and last names, and this is real information, so that's why I don't want to share it right now, but just for the recording purposes. But then all I have to do is click export contacts, and it will export essentially all the contacts and all of the open information for this one. You say, okay, go ahead and export. It says it will take a few minutes. It pops up with a green bar right here, which says download instead of refresh page. And you just download it to Excel, and then you can save it and use that as an Excel spreadsheet, combine it with others, do whatever you need to do to process that data. But the nice thing about doing it this way is it tells me the name of the person. Yeah, so here you go, you can go download now. It gives me the name of the person that opened an email, all their email address, their agency name, all that stuff. But then it also says what time they opened the email. And then like for the click one, if I come back to the campaigns and do the click one, it will give me the name and email and agency name and all that of the person who clicked, and then what link they clicked on, because there actually are a couple additional links in there. There's the main one, but then there's also a couple others, like links to your state partnership manager and links to the EDC or EIIC website on this stuff. And I can see what time they clicked, which links specifically they clicked on, so we can kind of do some analysis that way. And then you can also obviously download your unsubscribes so that I can give them a call and see, hey, why'd you unsubscribe? We're not trying to sell you anything. We just want you to do a survey. And it also allows you to download the bounces, and the bounces, it gives you a reason for the bounce, whether it was blocked or usually it's does not exist. That email just was deleted. They don't work there anymore. That email doesn't exist anymore. And then if you've got questions about those codes, the bounce codes, you can click, and Constant Contact has a big list of explanations of what each code means, and then suggestions on how to fix those specific emails. I have taken 1 extra minute of your time, which I apologize for, but I think we got through everything and there was a lot to go there. If you have additional questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to help with whatever. But I'll turn the time back to Jane to kind of wrap up, and then shoot me an email, give me a call if you've got questions about this stuff. I could even stay on for a minute or two if you would like to answer questions.
That's great. Thank you so much, Braden. That was an incredibly comprehensive look at Constant Contact that I'm sure all of us appreciate, getting to know the nuances and the details of everything. Next month, we are going to be discussing mail merge with yours truly, another way to send out email communications to your EMS agency. The monthly challenge will be to download your EMS agency list from Tableau into an Excel spreadsheet, and I'll be sending on instructions with how to do that with a link to this recording. If you have any questions or ideas for Tech Talks, please feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm happy to receive your suggestions. We want to tailor these to the work that you're doing and appreciate all that you do. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.